Hi there. Welcome back. I'm so happy to be with you again. Like last week, I was not able to join you guys, but today I'm back. And as always, let me begin with some announcements. As you might seen, today's show it's showcasing Sophie from Tooling Team, who is going to show us the behind the scenes of the Sway Playground. Spoiler, we have a new integration with a Solidity transpiler that will blow your mind. This is Developer Align, a series of live stream shows made for the contemporary, open source, and contributor. Comes in 4 flavors and it's powered by Fuel Labs. You know what's today's topic, but next week we have a special show. This is our Barcelona special. Basically, we will be hosting a hybrid workshop. So we will get together in Give House in Barcelona, and we will be following up this amazing guide written by 𝘿𝙚𝙚, which you already know. If you are willing to join us, if you are nearby Barcelona, please go to 𝘿𝙚𝙦/fuel-intro to Sway. Then you can register and join us. As I say, this is a hybrid workshop. That means we will be doing the live stream as well. And the week after that, we will have Hawk Stories. Chan chan chan. Mr. 𝘿𝙚𝙚 is coming back again to show us the best ways to get your contract hacked so you don't have to lose your own funds. As always, remember that we have open positions. Yeah, we have open positions. Let me show you my screen so you can check them out. And this is it. Open positions. We have for Devrel team, which is my team. So I hope among you who are watching this is our new teammate. Developer advocate, full-time. Technical writer, full-time as well. And for engineering, we have engineering manager, senior protocol engineer, senior Rust engineer, senior Solidity engineer, site reliability engineer. And for growth, we have community operations lead, ecosystem growth lead, a 6 months contract for a graphic designer, growth generalist, and social media marketer. For ops, we have director of finance, and for product, we have group product manager and senior product manager. So if you happen to have one of these skills and you would like to join this amazing team, Just come here and apply. As always, these job listings can be found if you go to our website, fuel.network, and scroll all the way down. Say that, let's begin because we have a special guest. Today, we will be showcasing uh, one of the most impressive projects, I might say, from our ecosystem, which is SparkFi. So let me introduce you to Vitaly. Hi there.
Hey, Sand Sky, what's up? How are
How
you
you
doing?
doing? Like, how's weather there?
Weather is beautiful. I can show you. It's sunny, it's green, it's finally warm. I love
It's
it.
finally spring again.
I think it's already like summer starting, but yeah, you're right.
Okay. Well, so let's jump into it. Spark. What's a Spark? Why is so amazing? Who is building this? The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. I'll give you a little bit of context first because I really like to tell this story. And before Fuel, I was building on Solana for 2 years. I was doing growth at Mango Markets and I was building Neon EVM before that. I was doing a bunch of due diligence at the VC as well. And when FTX collapsed and Serum ecosystem collapsed as well, um, it was very hard for Solana ecosystem. And I thought, okay, so because I know what the weak spots are, and I mean, right now Solana is again experiencing the same issues with network stability. I definitely don't want to FUD Solana. There are solid items there, but there are a lot of failed transactions. And I thought we should build an order book similar to Serum, fully on chain, but on Ethereum. So the problem we're resolving is Ethereum has a huge execution issue. All the perp dexes, so big execution issues, but a huge growing market of the derivatives. And all the perps that you see, maybe 400 teams building on the Ethereum ecosystem right now, they are all using either off-chain execution with on-chain settlement or, well, yeah, that's actually the only system that they use. If you go to Arbitrum on DeFi Llama, you will see that Hyperliquid, everyone are building their private chains, moving order books off-chain. Essentially, Ethereum is being scaled by Cosmos SDK or products like 0x, which is okay, but that's not really the approach we think is right, we at Spark. We think everything should be happening on-chain. And we're scaling exactly this. Now, to build this kind of a fast order book in the Ethereum ecosystem, you need a parallelizable virtual machine. And Fuel VM is the closest one to the market. That's why we have considered, and we still think that Fuel is the best tech in crypto today. And we think that this is the best tech to build a fast order book, something where we can easily do 2,500 transactions per second with 100 millisecond finality. It's and that's not even like, and we're not even touching the predicates, which represent stateless transactions. And a more lightweight design for this kind of systems will start with contract-based order book, and we're releasing it in July together with Fuel. Then we started building like an actual product that can aggregate liquidity and attract TVL and volumes to Fuel, especially in the early days. And we have come up with a design that includes the following parts. It's order book based spot plus perp DEX, and we have lending and borrowing that is plugged in to this product. So actual lending and borrowing has been the first product we've built. It was Sway Land. And I think Sway Land was the first ever user interface released on like entire Fuel ecosystem, the first product built on Fuel VM essentially. And right now we're integrating Sway Land into Spark. So having a lending and borrowing within perp DEX and having it liquid allows you to leverage your positions on the order book even further, allows them to be fully collateralized. It's also very good for young ecosystem because you're getting efficient liquidity as a result. I can tell about the tech advantages that Spark will have, and those are essentially based on the fuel advantages. That's the speed of transactions, free order creation and cancellation, on-chain execution, fast finality, no data congestions. It's the problem that is slowing down Solana today. Fuel has a very elegant approach to this one because it's a UTXO-based chain. Data efficiency on Fuel is very well executed. What else is there? Oh, and of course, it's relying on Ethereum liquidity and security. You can easily bridge any tokens you want from Ethereum, and that's a huge advantage. Competition is pretty high that we have. Of course, like I mentioned before, there are many teams building DeFi on the Ethereum L2s. But here's the thing: why is this product capable of, let's say, winning over the best products in this space, like Hyperliquid or Evo or 𝘿𝙚𝙦? Well, first of all, because you can capture the volumes, because you have enough capacity, technical ability to transact a lot. Let's say you're a trader and you have 100K, and let's say you have Spark. So this is how it can work. You can put your liquidity into lending and borrowing. You can leverage it from there. Then you can take it from the lending and borrowing pool. So you can bring it to the order book. Let's say you want to short or long Bitcoin or Uni or Link or any other token that you want. And then you start trading with already increased liquidity that you had in the beginning. Now you can, let's say, transact, you can send 100K back and forth, and that's essentially how volume is created. So you can easily have 10 million volumes in minutes, or if you check the 𝘿𝙚𝙦, it had around 1.34, I think, billion of 24-hour volume yesterday. This is totally possible with Fuel as well. This is achievable. I mean, of course, considering that you position your growth and partnerships with the market makers and all the liquidity providers correctly. Yeah, that's the first. That's our current landing page. We are redesigning it right now, and it's very cool that you have opened this section because yes, we have some advantages. So says 20x leverage. It is completely true, but more like on top of that, we have designed a risk engine together with Fibonacci Finance team that allows our users, that allows you to not get liquidated as often as it normally happens. So here is the thing. All the perp dexes get the majority of their profit through liquidations. Users get liquidated massively. And that's the backbone of the revenue for all the perp dexes, which is great, honestly. But we want to allow users to actually, profit by trading on Spark. That's why we are providing the recommendations. Like what we do is we take a 2-year history for each asset in our risk engine. For example, Bitcoin has lower volatility, so you can leverage it more than, let's say, Dogecoin. Dogecoin will give you a recommendation for leverage, considering the collateral, considering a bunch of things. So it's the market, it's the collateral that you have, and it depends, of course, if you're long or shorted. So there are several factors affecting the leverage recommendation on Spark, and we'll tell you, okay, you can do X18, but you might be liquidated instantly. So we recommend playing safe, leverage at X3 or X5. Don't do it further. Let's see how it works. But potentially, of course, we want our customers, our traders, to profit by trading on Spark. We have integrated PIF, Price Oracle, with Spark so far, and our risk engine is based on a double Oracle system because we want to avoid price manipulation attacks, and we want to add an extra security layer there. So looking for on mainnet, we're launching with Redstone there as well, and the guys are updating their code base on Fuel right now. Now we are starting with USDC as collateral only, and we think that this is a riskless setup. We don't want to give our customers, actually having USDC as collateral is a really good thing because it's predictable. You deposit collateral, all the fees are also accrued in USDC, all the commissions are paid in USDC, and you can focus your revenue in USDC as well. But already in Spark, we have a cross-collateral system implemented, so we might launch it a little bit later. And for that, we're definitely looking for to fuel upgradability feature, which is amazing. Can you scroll down a bit this landing page? Yeah, so this is a screenshot of our existing interface. But if you follow us on Twitter, you could have seen that we have recently built the first version of our Spark native indexer, which will allow us to relaunch our demo very soon. So within a couple of days, we're releasing a spot. And I think within a couple of weeks, we're releasing perps. But because I have like local host access to I'm seeing the development progress, and this demo is very outdated. The UI we will release on Fuel Upgradable Testnet looks much better. So you just gotta be checking it in May. I think in a month from now, maybe in a month and a week from now, Spark is gonna look way cooler than right now, and we're updating everything. Our landing page, our narrative, our, of course, app UI. We want to make it look absolutely slick before we launch in July. Yeah, I think another cool feature that we have, except the stack that Fuel provides us, is a rich API. So here's the thing. Customer acquisition cost for centralized exchange traders is 10 times less than on the DEXs. And lifetime value of each exchange trader is way higher than the DEX trader as well. But you got to simplify the onboarding for that. And that's what I think our best product part is. We have built a rich API that will allow you to run strategies that are very similar to what you as a trader would have on Binance or Bybit or BitMEX or any other exchange. And we will start testing the strategies and the algorithms of our customers, the market makers that we'll launch with in summer very soon again. Yeah, so this plus the ability to actually fetch the volumes on the order book, because the majority of the traders are right now extracting the liquidity on the order books. Makes Spark cool, makes Spark interesting. And we are also partnering with a bunch of Fuel ecosystem projects like Baku, Fueled, Poolshark to provide even better trader experience. And another feature that we have, and that's what we also got inspired by Serum at. So Spark has spot and perps, and the spot is essentially an order book that entire ecosystem can transact within. So Aori and several other teams are launching on Spark Stack, on Spark Spot, and you can arbitrage through Spark Spot and Spark Perps and Aori options a little bit later, maybe Sale as well. So there will be a bunch of products running on Spark Order Book that you can arbitrage against, and that's essentially the bread and butter of the traders today. Yeah, this is how Spark looks right now, but again, I would say that this is a very outdated version by today. because Spark Indexer is actually the biggest piece of code that we've written so far by far. And that has been a dependency preventing us from updating the demo constantly. But now we finally will start iterating on the public testnet with that. That's our GitHub. It has a decent number of stars, has a decent number of followers, actually. So there's a bunch of people following us, which of course is very complimenting to the team. We've been actively building on Fuel since December 2022, and this is essentially the result. But a bunch of repos are private. Fuel team is there. However, we don't make them private until we launch on mainnet and gain some traction. That's the plan. For example, with perps, lending and borrowing is there. I believe that's it. Feel free to ask any questions.
Well, Vitaly, thank you so much for giving us such a showcase of Spark. As I told you, I'm really impressed and really bullish on this project because, as you might hear in the audience, Vitaly is a really experienced developer and a really experienced business DeFi analyst. I don't know how to tell it. It's like you're a ninja. Like you understand whether the business side and the technical side, and like you have the whole picture. And as we talked a couple weeks ago, like DeFi is a serious business. Like not having enough commitment or not being performative enough can lead to loss of funds. So I think having such experienced person leading the team, having such an experienced and amazing team, shows how in serious you take this job and how much you care about the users. Because as you
I'm
told us,
flattered. Thank you.
yeah, because as you told us, you are willing, you are expecting, you are working for your
Yeah, that's
users
my
to
job.
have money, not only the market makers. So it's amazing. I would like to ask, who is in your team right now? Who are the people behind this amazing tool? And maybe I think I saw in your Twitter that you are hiding. So how is that?
Okay, so we are 12 right now. The backbone of the team is located in Lisbon, Portugal, but we also have three people in Dubai, couple in the Eastern Europe. That's it. Yeah, and one person in the Balkans. I wouldn't call us a remote team or decentralized team. I don't actually, since we moved to the office, everything changed for us. The work started to be way more efficient than it used to be before. And we are almost become a fully non-remote team, I would say. We are hiring locally in Lisbon, Portugal, and we're proud about it. It's not always easy, but we are trying to do it. Now, yes, we are hiring because we need a separate dedicated person for the indexer. Actually, Spark Indexer might become a fully independent standalone product. Indexing in Ethereum, DeFi, and trading is a huge gap, and a lot of parallelizable virtual machines are coming, like Monad and Mega ETH as well. Fuel essentially being the pioneer in this novel group of VMs. I mean, you have parallelizable VMs on other chains outside the Ethereum ecosystem, like Solana, Say, Aptos, Celo, Near, couple more, but you never had it within the Ethereum ecosystem. And as I mentioned before, it's important. So indexing will be a huge issue, and I recommend starting building something in this space right now. So we need a separate developer for that. It's going to be like backend / DevOps. So these are the skills we're looking for. We need two more smart contract develop. Well, at least one more smart contract developer. Either Solidity or Rust experience works for us. Both work because we have great developer onboarding process. and we will easily turn anyone into a software engineer. Now, we are also looking for a front-end developer because there's a lot of work on the front-end side, and we want to build and ship faster. And we have raised last year, and we closed our pre-seed round this year, and right now we're in the middle of raising our seed round. So we are funded enough to afford scaling the team. Like I told you, we actually started, we were just 3 people in December 2022. Now we're 12, so we already have scaled a bit. Yeah.
Well, I know for sure there are many developers right there waiting to join your team. I will do if I weren't part of Fuel. So I hope you can find that amazing talent that is required to fulfill such a big endeavor. Because, like, when you get the funding, it's like another level of compromise. So congratulations on that. We have a question here from Ruben, which is, can we have a sneak peek of the new UI?
I think it's a very good one. I'll definitely publish it on our Twitter. Um, yeah, we'll do that. Actually, really
Okay.
good one, Ruben. I think you'll see it tomorrow.
Okay. Well, so if you want to keep in touch and get a sneak peek on SparkFi, or you can follow up the development, or you can do, or you want to apply to one of these open positions, please follow Spark on Twitter. This is SparkFi, like Spark without the A, SparkFi. And I think that's it. Vitaly, thank you so much for joining us together. I'm really happy to finally showcase Spark on this space. Again, really bullish on your project, and really happy that you're part of our Fuel ecosystem. And this is it. Thank you so much.
Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Cheers, everyone.
See you. Bye bye. Well, super exciting, right? Like as you saw, DeFi is not for the rookies, and Spark definitely is people who know what they are doing. But without more hesitation, finally the moment has come. Deep dive into the Sway playground with Sophie from our tooling team. So uh, let me take you into stage and welcome there, Sophie.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sandusky.
So how is going there? How are you feeling? How's the weather in your city?
Well, I live in Seattle, so it's overcast as usual. But
Okay.
maybe in a couple months we'll get into summer.
Well, it feels like it's coming. Like at least in Spain right now, and it's getting hotter every day. So luckily we would be
Oh,
feeling
poor
some
you.
waves. Yeah.
Spain.
Well, Sophie, tell us a little bit about you. Like, what's your team about? What's your background? How you got into Web3? How you got into engineering as well?
Oh, yeah. So my background, I've been doing software development for about 10 years, and how I got into engineering. I guess growing up in Seattle, there's a pretty big tech industry here, with a lot of the big tech giants like Amazon and Microsoft. Um, and I studied computer science. I guess my first computer science class was actually like Intro to Python when I was in high school. Um, and I really, really loved Python. That was my favorite language for a long time. Uh, I just yeah, so then I kind of got introduced to more languages in college, and I started working at a networking company. So that was like mostly in like C and C++, more like low level programming, just a really cool intro to the uh, to like being a professional. And then I worked at Amazon for a couple years. I worked on Alexa smart home. So kind of like integrating IoT devices with like Alexa voice to intents. That was really interesting. I'm not going to give you my whole job history, but I landed at Fuel about, I guess, a little less than 2 years ago. I was super excited to learn Rust and excited to learn about blockchain because it was something I had kind of always been interested in, but didn't really understand like the technical, how it really works under the hood. And yeah, I've been on the tooling team the entire time, which I really like because there's a lot of variety. Like, getting to work with the compiler, but also getting to have like a very user-facing end product is really nice. Nice for me as a full stack developer. We also have like some command line tools that we build and support, Fork and Fuel Up. And then Sway Playground kind of just it's like the thing with the most front end aspect. Like when I started working on it, I'm not like a real front end developer, but I have experience with React, so I rewrote it in React just to make it easier for me to add features onto it. Yeah, by the way, if there's any like React developers out there that want to contribute, there's open issues on GitHub. And
Well, before moving into Sway Playground, I might say that I'm impressed by your contribution chart. So a lot of green in your garden. So it seems like the tooling team is quite busy. And I'm impressed as well as your experience, because it's like coming from different backgrounds. For instance, like networking, IoT, Nets, blockchain, even doing a little bit of React here and there. I will say that even today we are showcasing Sway Playground. I might say that it's really impressive as well to see your work on the LSP. So congratulations on that. So yeah, this is Sophie GitHub. I can tell a real developer when I see them, because you have a lot of activity in GitHub. I couldn't find your Twitter, so that means you are behind the keyboard and for the right reasons. So yeah, this is Sophie. Now, today's topic, Sway Playground. I kind of understand that, as is often happens in open source development, Sway Playground was not made 100% by you. So how it was like this first approach to Sway Playground, how it was when you saw it at the beginning, how it's now, can you show us maybe?
yeah, let me share my screen here.
Can you see I have like an invisible water, like if I do like this?
Magically appearing water bottle.
Magic.
Nice. Okay.
It's so crazy how like these green screen stuff have evolved. Like,
yeah, I'm just using the blur here. It's cool. So I guess, yeah, so I think Sway Playground was originally written by Nick, the CEO of Fuel Labs. And he had kind of like the editor with compiling working, and which is sort of like the core functionality. It's like you can edit your code and compile it. So when I started on it, I actually ended up working on it because a former engineer at 𝘿𝙚𝙚 was building out this deploy feature, but unfortunately she left Fuel before getting that merged. So I took over just because I thought it was a really cool feature that she had built, and I wanted to kind of clean it up and get it out there so people can use it. So at that time, I think there were it was a little bit out of date. Like I don't think we had CI working, and we didn't have the latest tool chain. So it was like building an older version of the 𝘿𝙚 language using an older version of the compiler. So I got that kind of updated. I added this drop down, so you can. Beta 5 is currently the latest version of the compiler, but you can switch to older versions. Obviously, 𝘿𝙚 is like the bleeding edge of the compiler, but just defaults to beta 5 right now.
I
Yeah,
think
so I
it's
got this.
important to step in for a second to say something like the 𝘿𝙚 playground basically is like a playground on the browser where you can like write 𝘿𝙚 code, compile that code, and deploy that code. So basically, is I've not misunderstanding, when you try to deploy something from the 𝘿𝙚 playground, the 𝘿𝙚 playground is like connecting to your browser wallet, allowing you to like easily deploy constructs without messing with terminal and all of that stuff, which is often scary for the average front-end developer.
Yeah, that was a great overview. So yeah, you can compile, deploy, and then I'll show how you can actually interact with your contract here as well. So maybe I should just show that now, just so people have like a full sense of what the playground can do.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so right, so I compiled the contract here. This is just an example counter contract. So when I
So
deploy
this is
it,
like a preseeded code. Like as soon as I open the playground, I get this code, right?
yeah, yes, this should be the example you first see, and then you can try out other examples here if you want. But yeah, so let's say if I've never linked my wallet here, it's going to give me the option to link different wallets. I'm just going to link the Fuel wallet. It's asking me to log in here in a separate window. So then I assign the transaction to deploy. And you will need to have some fake Ethereum in your wallet. It's fake because we're still not on mainnet, and there's a faucet for that. So now I've deployed it. This is my ABI. I have two functions, increment and get. And so I can actually call the functions here. So if I call it, by default, it's a dry run. I don't have to sign the transaction. So right now the value is 0. But let's say I want to actually make an update on chain. I want to increment it by 2. Now it's asking me, the wallet window is open. I don't think you can see that, but it's asking me to approve. So now even if I call dry run, I get that the value is 2. So this is just a very simple example of how you can interact with the wallet, interact with the contract that you've just deployed from 𝘿𝙚 Playground. So this is
I would like to ask what's working behind, like in terms of libraries, because as you told us, this is a React application, but who is taking care of like the text editor? Who is taking care of the code highlighting? Like, can you like kind of overview how is this working? Like how is wired together?
Sure. So the text editor, this is an ACE editor. and the syntax highlighting is actually not great. Like, it could be better. I'm using the Rust syntax highlighter since Sway is pretty similar to Rust, so you can kind of get some things like function, keyword, and increment, but for example, ABI and contract are not keywords in Rust, so that's why they're not highlighted. So if someone wants to build like an ACE syntax highlighter for Sway, that would be pretty cool.
Actually, I think inside the Sway repo there's a highlight JS definition of for Sway. So maybe if
Oh, for the
somebody's there,
docs. Yeah.
yeah. So maybe if
Yeah.
somebody's there having some free time, maybe there's a PR you can do and get your own code merged into our code base. Basically, it's taking that highlighting definition and getting into the Sway playground
Yes,
repo,
we would love
which we
that.
are going to see later. So okay, let's follow up.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of things like that where it's like, if someone wants to make this better, please do. Other parts of this, I guess, how this is working. The sort of backend for this is all using the TypeScript SDK to interact with the Fuel node. And I can get into that code a little bit in a minute, but yeah, basically the way it works is after you compile, you get this ABI, which is a big JSON blob describing the contract interface. ABI is application binary interface, I think. So this is describing all of the types that are used in the contract interface. So we're only using U64 here, but say if I had defined some structs or enums that were used as like parameters or return values, they would be in the ABI, and they would be described in the type section. And then the functions describe inputs, attribute, like this attribute storage read is saying that this function needs permission to read storage, because obviously it's calling read function. So those attributes show up. Yeah, so what happens is the TypeScript SDK takes this ABI and so the TypeScript SDK deploys the contract, and then using the ABI, it lets you call the functions using inputs. So maybe I should get into the code for that. It's really not complicated using the SDK. So if anyone wants to build something like this where you can call functions, it's pretty straightforward. And there are
Okay.
examples.
Yeah, but before going into GitHub, I would like to ask why, if we are writing Sway, why do we have a solidity button in the top navbar?
Right. Yeah. So this is a new feature. Let's try it out. Okay. So you can see a second editor opened. And this is now an example from Solidity. So here's a counterexample written in Solidity, and it's slightly different. You see it's like the functions aren't taking any inputs. So now if I click compile, it's actually going to transpile the Solidity into Sway. It's using a project called Charcoal, which we're very grateful to them for building this transpiler. So it'll transpile, you can see the output over here, and then compile the Sway code. So yeah, it's generated this contract ABI and implementation, and then you can deploy this. So if you're a Solidity developer and you're hesitating about learning Sway, like this is a great way to just start.
So I can just go there and start dropping some of my already known Solidity code and see like all might be side by side with Sway and like deploy and so on. So
yeah, exactly.
It's
so we
really
have
impressive, actually.
Yeah, a couple examples here, like ERC20, implementing an ERC20 token. and like a voting contract. But yeah, you can drop any contract in here, and it's not guaranteed to transpile. Like the charcoal is still in development, and the other disclaimer is that it might not be like the most optimized Sway code, but it's definitely a great learning tool and like starting point for Solidity developers.
Well, so it seems like we are getting closer to that gold Rosetta Stone, which is really impressive. And I'm really happy that we have such an integration within the Swipe playground. Um,
And
right now, yeah,
just one other plug for charcoal. It's a command line tool, so you don't have to use Sway Playground to be able to transpile. You can easily install the charcoal CLI tool and run it on your local code. Okay, sorry, I just needed to say that.
actually, we are going to see that almost right now. And I was going to say that we are up to 1,700 viewers right now, which is a lot.
Wow.
And I think it's a good timing to go into the bare bones of these tools. So I think it's time to go into some GitHub. Uh,
Sure, yeah. Let's do it. So, can you see my tab?
there you go. So this is the mighty Sway playground. This is the place where you can just come and start making your own PRs. You told me you have like a lot of open issues, right? Like at the beginning. Can we
Oh
see some
yeah,
of these?
take a look. Um, so I think this one's already got a pull request. Executing read functions on Sway Playground consumes gas. Okay, so this is one where basically anything that, for example, in the contract we looked at get function, even when you're running it in like not dry run mode, like live mode, it shouldn't consume gas because it's only reading from the chain. It's not like updating. So this is, I think, a fix that's going to be made on the SDK side, and then we'll probably just need to bump the SDK version and test it. Dark mode. This is one that I would personally love. Like, I do everything in dark mode, so I didn't come up with the original style of Sway Playground, but if someone wants to add like a little, I mean, it doesn't even need to be like a toggle. It could just use the browser setting for dark mode and then apply all the right styles. That'd be really cool. Um, this is just to do with the error output. If you compile something that has an error, it like the output has some like extra new lines, so it'd be just kind of nice to clean that up. Um,
It seems like a great starter PR because it's like not too hard.
yeah, yeah. I'll go through and tag some of these with good first issue. I mean, none of these I think are. I think if you have experience with any either the front end or the back end, like there's definitely improvements that can be made. And I'd also love it if you have ideas or you find bugs, if you open an issue for it or even contribute a PR to fix it. Writing React unit tests would be really nice. This one supporting fork test. This would be like if you want to write tests for your contract code in the editor, there could be like a test button where you can like execute your unit test. Because right now it only compiles the main contract code. So in fork tests, actually like in fork build, there's an extra option where you can tell it to compile test code as well, because usually it will skip compiling test code. So I think I might have added details on that
Up to
one.
this point, I have a question, which is fork test is command line tool, basically a Rust crate. It's the same study for fork deploy, fork build, and so on. And even charcoal is a command line tool, but this is a React application. So how is that you are using command line applications in the browser? Like what's happening behind?
Yeah, it's pretty simple actually. The back end of this React app is running in an EC2 instance, so it has its own Linux operating system. So like in the you can see there is a Docker file. It's under deployment. So this is the Docker file for the backend, and like this is, you can see we're installing charcoal here, and we're installing 𝘿𝙚𝙚 here, and installing all of the tool chains that we support. So the one thing that the backend can't do is like it can't install things once it's running. So you need to pre-install anything that the backend is going to use, any command line tools. So that's what you do here in this Docker file. And then this means like when you merge a PR that changes the backend, it will deploy the backend using this Docker file to build the container. So I hope that makes
So
sense.
it's like the whole backend is this. Like you have no a REST API server taking
Oh,
care of
there are
the
REST
support.
APIs, yes.
Okay.
So
So this is like the first step, deploying
yes,
the Linux machine. Then you wrap that then you then you wrap that in a REST API server, which is written in Rust, maybe.
right, yeah. So this is sort of like the base machine that it's, or container that it's going to be running in, and then you can see the very last step is it does /sway_playground. And so what this is doing is up here we're actually building the Sway Playground binary, and that binary is written in Rust. Here's the cargo toml, so this is the name of the executable. And then under source, we have our REST APIs. So there's a compile endpoint, a transpile endpoint, some like catchers for bad requests, and a health endpoint. Super simple. And then if we want to look at like what does compilation actually do, so it actually creates a directory or it creates like a temporary fork project for the code that you've written in the editor, and actually runs fork build on it, and then the REST API returns the results. Basically returns the standard out or standard error from fork build, which is compilation. So that's pretty much what's happening here. There's a couple other files that it returns the ABI as well as this storage slots JSON, which this is important for the TSSDK to be able to make contract calls. If you're using any storage, the storage slots JSON is important. And then this is just like parsing out the error messages. So that's how kind of compilation works. And then we can look at, transpilation. So this works really similarly. It creates a temporary directory with a file called main.sol, copies your code from the editor into there, and then runs charcoal. It has to do some, then this is just replacing the comment because charcoal inserts a comment on the first line of the generated code. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And then this create project could probably be refactored since it's sort of similar to the create project for compilation. Here's where we're actually running the charcoal command. So it's like charcoal target, and then, oh no, I lost my sidebar. Okay. So that's pretty much all the backend's doing is compiling and now transpiling Solidity code.
So a few moments ago, we were talking about like including a fork test as part of the Sway playground. So if I happen to be an open source developer and I'm willing to contribute into this project, this will be the place to start working on that. Like I will be creating a new folder called testing maybe, and then I create a new handler in order to like take care of this process, which invokes the CLI and so on. Is something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then you'll have to add a an endpoint for it, like test or something, or like run test, and then um, probably like a test button. Or I feel like for me the trickiest part is figuring out how to add the new features into the UI without making it too cluttered. So like maybe instead of like just a compile button, it could be like a drop down where you could either compile or test. But yeah, you might have to play with it to see what looks good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
You,
back end would be pretty similar.
UX is always an issue, right? Like, um, it's easier for us backend, some sort of developers just start adding buttons everywhere, but that's not the what the user is willing to face. So
Yeah,
this
yeah. One thing
our
about
backend.
that is that we do want it to look good on mobile. So like, if you're going to make any UI contributions, definitely check out like what it looks like in mobile view. um, Make sure that you can actually access all the buttons and that everything still looks right.
Well, they say that we should be designing mobile first, but not always is the case. We gotta be honest. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so this was the REST API server, which is basically interacting with its underlying machine in order to like execute the fuel toolchain binaries. What's up with the front end?
um, yeah. So we could look at the front. Yeah, the front end is where we're going to be using the TypeScript SDK, so that'll definitely be good to show you. So yeah, the front end is all under this app folder. It's a React project.
So it looks like the front end is the one doing the interaction with the deployed contract, right?
Correct. It's also the thing interacting with the wallet.
Okay.
And all of that is done through the TypeScript SDKs, the Fuel SDKs for TypeScript. So let's see where we are.
It's so weird because for us it's all the time the TypeScript SDK, but as soon as you get here out in the wild, it's like, oh yeah, this is the fuel SDK for TypeScript.
Yes, yes, Fuel. Okay, so we can look at the editor. Well, actually, I can just briefly look at it, I guess. So there's the Solidity editor, which has this Solidity mode, and this is an ACE build mode, ACE editor build mode that someone else built. So if you are interested in writing a an ACE build syntax highlighter, you could kind of do what Sandusky was suggesting, like take the syntax.js that we already have for docs and I don't know, figure out like the ACE way of being able to include it. You might just need to publish it to npm or something. So yeah, we have the two editors and then kind of the overlays where you can select the tool chain or the example. Sorry, keep getting out of my file view. So let's look at the SDK stuff because that's interesting. So that's under interact. Let's see. So it's the, I think it's contract interface. Yeah, so here's where we're actually providing a contract ID. and interacting with the functions. So
I remember
so
like um
sorry.
these
Go
kind of
ahead.
situations where you get on to work on Monday and you say like, who wrote this code, you know? And
I
it's like,
wrote the
oh yeah, it
code.
was
I
me.
just takes me a minute to remember what's going on. Okay, so we have this use contract functions hook, which I think is the thing that's actually calling the SDK, and then this is using the response from the SDK, contract and function names, and mapping those to like the React elements that you're actually like inputting, or well yeah, different types of inputs. Like so far, you only saw the input for a U64, but since you can provide a struct as an input, um, there's like a JSON editor, which I can show. So basically, this is mapping the types of from the interface to different React elements for inputs. So actually, this use contract functions is going to be what we want to look
So
at.
it's basically taking the API and generating UI elements based on that, like automatically.
Yes, exactly.
That's a clever approach. I think I will be doing like each input by hand. Yeah, that will be.
Well, I mean, it is sort of by hand, but for structs, and maybe someone has a better way of doing this, but I just thought just a JSON editor is going to be it's going to be the easiest. Maybe I'll show that right after this. So use contract. Okay, so this is using the SDK to create a contract from a contract ID. And we get that contract ID from deploying. So it's actually we actually need to look at the deployment.
So this contract object is like the interface where you interact with the contract, like where you have like the contract functions made into the object methods, something like that, some sort of interface, right?
Yep, and I'm just gonna switch to the GitHub, whatever this is called. Here.
Can we get a little bit of zoom?
Oh yeah,
There you go.
the virtual VS Code, or yeah,
I think it's an amazing feature, by the way. It's like you press the dot key, and
yeah,
suddenly you are in some sort of online VS Code.
yeah, exactly. It makes it a lot easier to navigate. Should have been doing this from the beginning. So deployment. I'm just looking at the. Okay, so it's this use deploy contract is the first interaction with the SDK. So oh, I guess it's still not perfect, but right, here we go.
There
So
you go. Yeah.
yeah, okay, so we're using this use wallet function from Fuel's React. This is the SDK, and this is what if you noticed when I first deployed, it had a pop-up asking me which wallet I wanted to use.
Yeah.
This is called the connectors, the Fuel's connectors API.
Which is
And
new
it's
as well.
really handy. So if anyone wants to add this pop-up for connecting different wallets, it had like Fuel, MetaMask, Fuelit. It is as easy as, I mean, I can show. There's like maybe two steps you have to do. You have to add the provider, and then you call use connect UI, and then you can use this use wallet anywhere and have access to this wallet type, which gives you like um,
So it's like this is a quite robust project for the average quick start front end developer. But um, as I can understand, if I'm willing to start playing around with Fuel Wallet, I just need to like implement the functions that here are shown. Maybe a little bit upper. Yeah, line 20 and 21. Like, it's like you are wrapping your app in the fuel provider, and then you are able to use these.
yep, exactly.
So it's
Um,
like two lines, pop up wallet and connect with you. with your
Yeah.
application.
And I think what I have here, I think I'm only using 𝑖sLoading just to make sure that we're rendering the right thing after it's loaded. And it's really this use fuel hook that is also from Fuel's React that is giving me access to like which network the wallet is connected to. And let's see, I'm sure we're using, okay, contract factory. Yeah, so wallet is an input to its contract factory. So if you want to write a front-end app that deploys contracts to Fuel, it's literally just this part here. You just pass in, you have to have the bytecode, which is, the compiled Sway bytecode. You have to have the ABI, and you have to have the wallet. And then when you deploy the contract, you need to pass the storage slots. And this is, I was mentioning, if your contract has any like read or write operations from storage, this defines like what those, basically like the fields, or they're called slots, in the storage object are. So just to go back to that for a second, I'm just talking about this right here. So like this contract would have one storage slot for count. Yeah, and so that's how it's deployed, and then this contract gets used over here for over here in the deployment button for parsing out the different functions and inputs. Oh, sorry, I think I was actually in a hook. There's kind of, I love React, but there's a lot of you have to write a lot of
Boilerplate
for it. Well, like you have to put your hook, or at least I always put my hooks in different files.
Okay.
Use contract, here it is. So yeah, that's basically how the deployment and interaction stuff is working. And I can show what I was talking. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you're willing to show something else, and I'm happy to see something else. So yeah, go on.
Well, I was thinking it could be good to show like, instead of just this example, we can show what like other inputs look like. So like say we want to have a struct with like.
Oh, so you moved into Sway Playground right now?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I gotta switch.
Yeah, now can I see you? Okay, so we are doing like more advanced Sway code right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's really what we should be doing, or if you want to learn more about the playground.
No.
Actually, maybe one of these other examples.
I want to see how it behaves. So yeah, let's do it.
Here's a good one, actually, the single asset example, because this one has a struct for an input. I just kind of wanted to show what that looks like. So I'm signing the transaction with my wallet. And let's look at this total supply. Okay, so it takes in an asset ID. And you kind of have to know what asset ID is to be able to do this. Asset ID is coming from, I think it is from standard. But yeah, this has to be like a B256 value. But this, I just wanted to show like different, more complex inputs. You'll just have a JSON editor. And some of them will have default values, but I'm not sure if there's any great examples of that.
Oh yeah, there you go. So like this JSON editor is like the way to provide these high-level data structures as inputs, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you can have like any level of complexity there, but I think most contracts will probably only have like one or two levels of nested structs or enums. Okay, yeah, sorry. Do you have any questions?
Well, I feel like so far we are so good. I think we already took some time to showcase our Solidity transpiler. We saw how to compile, how to deploy, how to interact. We took a dive into the code. We checked open issues. We even provide some guidance on how you might be implementing one of these solutions. So I feel like satisfied. My curiosity took a great meal today. So yeah, I think we did a great job. Is there anything else you would like to add regarding the Sway Playground?
Um, I I guess I just want to like one more time reiterate like we're very open to contributions, whether that's like issues with bug reports, or feature requests or PRs for implementing those features. If you have an idea of how this could be better, we would love to hear from you and get your your contributions. Thank you. And
So
and
yeah,
also,
right
does
now.
anyone have questions in the stream, or is it
Oh, none so far. Yeah,
okay? Cool.
but right now, as we have 2,200 viewers, it's a great advice, which is come and send your code. Like we really like your contributions. This is fully open source, so you can go into GitHub. Actually, do we have a GitHub button in the playground?
Yeah, the GitHub for the playground.
Oh yeah, but I, I mean, like it will be amazing to have a small button, like maybe next to docs, where you click and takes you to the GitHub website. Anyhow,
Yeah. Okay.
you can go to sway-playground.org and find this amazing tool. And with the same name, you can go to GitHub and find the source code for this. Feel free to jump in and start proposing maybe new issues, maybe new features, or maybe start just coding and trying to add something for the open issues. Um, so I think this is it.
Great. Well,
Sophie,
thank you so much.
thank you so much indeed. This was an amazing session. I'm really happy to have you. You, one of the top talents of the Sway team. I know for sure that the rest of the tooling team is really happy to see you here showcasing their amazing work. So yeah, this is it. Something else?
Just thank you and have a good day. Keep
Okay.
coding.
So we have this. Thanks, Sophie, and bye bye. So wow, such an amazing session featuring Sway Playground. The word is out there. Just come and start coding right away because this is an open source project and we are more than happy of having your submissions. Guys, see you next week on our Barcelona special. We will be doing intro to Sway language for JavaScript developers. This is going to be live stream. Yeah, here in maybe Twitter, maybe Twitch, maybe YouTube, but it's going to be live streamed and it's going to be in person as well. So if you happen to be around Barcelona, come and join us. We will have a great time. And we have some swag as well. Pizza even. So yeah, nice perks. So thank you so much for joining us together. This was Developer Aligned, Deep Dive, Sway Playground. Thank you so much and see you next time. Bye bye.